Hi 11th standard student. Today we are going to learn the first topic, that is being neighborly. Let us see about the writer Louisa May Alcott. She was born in 1832 and died in 1888. Louisa May Alcott was an American writer in the mid to late 19th century. She is considered as one of the earliest feminist writers. Out of the several books she wrote, her series, beginning with Little Women, has been hugely popular among the masses and critics alike for a century and a half. That means she has written many books, and she has also written the series, and among the series she has written one book, that is the name of that book is Little Women, and this book was very popular among the people. Her simple style and lovely characters have left a mark and influenced generations of children and adults alike. Due to her simple style and lovely characters, many generations of children and adults, they have influenced due to her simple style and lovely characters. The setting of her books is the suburb of Boston. Her world view is wholesome and full of believable yet charming characters which captivate the readers. Her book Little Women, in that Little Women, in that books, her books setting is in the suburbs of Boston, and in that book you can see his view about the world is wholesome and it is full of believable, and in that book there is the charming characters, and these charming characters attracts the readers towards the book. The following extract is the Little Women, first published in 1868. This story of four sisters, Meg, Jo, Beth, and Amy, their friend Laurie, their wives and lovely parents of modest means, living in suburb of a city in the coast of America, has caught the imagination of generations of readers, young and old alike. Here has given extract from the Little Women, that book, and that Little Women, that book was published in 1868, and this story about the four sisters. The name of the four sisters are Meg, Jo, Beth, and Amy, and that four sisters have their one friend. That is, the name of that friend is Laurie, and also in that books, in that story, there are characters. That's that four sisters' mother and that Laurie's grandfather or grandpa. They all living in a suburb of a city in the east coast of America. Has caught the imagination of a generation of readers, young and old alike. Each character is real and distinctive. In that story, every character is real and unique one. We remain firmly with the sisters through all their struggles, conflicts, triumphs, and joys. While reading this story, we remain firmly with all that sisters while reading the stories. It serves as a guiding light to us in all the phases of our lives. The extracts affords us a tantalizing glimpse into the book and narrates the beginning of a lifelong friendship between Joe, the brightest and loveliest of the four sisters, and Laurie, their wealthy new neighbor. In that story, we can see that extra gives us the information about the that narrators, the girl Joe, that girl is the narrator in that story, and her friend, that is uh, Joe is the narrator in that story, and her friend Laurie is the friend. The March girls and Laurie became best buddy and much more as the book progressed. While reading the story, we can understand that four girls, they belong from March family, and her their friend Laurie, they became best buddy while the book is progressing. See, let us see thoroughly the story. Being neighborly. What in the world are you going to do now, Joe? Asked Meg one snowy afternoon as her sister came tramping through the hall in rubber boots, old sacks, and hood, with a broom in one hand and a shovel in the other. See, Joe, the Meg is asking to Joe, that is, what in the world are you going to do now? Because Joe is coming in the hall in the wearing rubber boots, and she has weird old sacks of food. That means she has sacks. That means, in fact, a short jacket and food. She has weird a old sack, and which has the cap with a broom, and also she has entered in the hall. In her one hand there is the broom and also shovel in another hand. That means shovel means spade in her another or in one hand. Going out for exercise, answered Joe with a mischievous twinkle in her eyes. When Meg asked to Joe, what in the world are you going to do now? That time she answered that going out for exercise with a mischievous twinkle in her eyes. She is replying to her question. I should think 2 long walks this morning would have been enough. It is cold and dull out, and I advise you to stay warm and dry by the fire as I do, said Meg with a shiver. Her sister, Joe's sister Meg, is saying that according to her, at mornings 2 walks are enough for the Joe, and she is giving the advice to Joe, that is, it is enough at mornings to walk, and outside of the house there is the cold and dull out. That means dull atmosphere is there. So she is advising to Joe, Meg is advancing to Joe, that is to stay warm and dry by the fire like Meg. She said Meg is giving advice while she was shivering with cold. Never take advice, can't keep still all day, and not being a pussycat. I don't like to dance by the fire. I like adventures and I am going to find some. And that time, Finn Meg gives the advice to Joe, don't went out of the house, stay in the home because there is the cold outside and dull atmosphere also there is. So that times for Meg's advice, Joe is giving a reply that is, she is saying that I cannot keep still all day. Hmm? Without working, I could not stay in the home, in the house, like a pussy cat. She is using metaphor also here. I don't like to dance by the fire, and she saying that I don't like to sit in front of the fire while half asleep. I like adventures and I am going to find some. And she is saying that Joe is saying that I want to search some adventures and I am going to search these adventures. Meg went back to toast her feet and read Eviano, and Joe began to dig path with great energy. The snow was light, and with her broom she soon swept a path all round the garden. Forbade to walk in when the sun came out and the invalid dolls needed air. Meg went back. She knew that her advice not following her sister Joe, so she Meg went back for toasting her feet in front of fire, and she's starting for reading Ivano, a historical novel by Walter Scott. Meg was reading that book in front of the fire while toasting her feet, and at that times her Meg's sister Joe began to dig paths with great energy. She was digging the path with great energy which was in front of their house. The path which was in front of their house. The snow was light. There was no more snow on that road, so with her broom she soon swept a path all round the garden, and she had swept all the snow which has lie on that road with her broom, and why she has swept the snow for Beth to walk in when the sun came out, and the invalid dolls needed air. When there is the sun came, that times the Beth, her sister, third number sister, will come out of the house for taking sun bath, and how the Beth will come with their invalid dolls, with invalid dolls, that means the dolls with broken limbs which Beth loves. Hmm? So she swept the all path of the garden which was covered by the snow. Now the garden separated the March's house from that of Mr. Lawrence. Both stood in a suburb of the city, which was still country like, with groves and lawns, large gardens, and quiet street. A low hedge parted the two estates, and due to sweeping of her sweeping the road or the path, the and Mr. Lawrence and March houses separated, and both their houses stood in a suburb of the city, and they are like still like the countryside or still like the villages, because there were grows that means there is the small group of trees, and also there is the old brown house, and that brown house is looking bare and shabby, and robbed of the vines that in the summer covered its walls and the flowers which then surrounded it. And there is the brown house of the Marches family, and that house was covered with the vines in the summer, and also due to flowers of that vine, they this house is surrounded. On the other side was a stately stone mansion, plainly betokening every sort of comfort and luxury, from the big coach house and well kept grounds to the conservatory and the glimpse of lovely things one caught between the rich curtains. And there is also one big house, the stately stone mansion, that is as impressive. There is the house. In that house, there is the all luxuries, and in that house there is a car house also. There is also a house for the car, and the pace for the car also there is, and well kept grounds. There is also beautiful roads which the conservators and the glimpse of the lovely things are caught between the rich curtains. And there is also the glass house. Conservatory means a glass rooms outside the house used as greenhouse too. There were, and all these things they can look through the curtains. Their March house curtains, the March family, they are looking through their curtains all these lovely things. Yet it seems a lonely, lifeless sort of house, for no children's frolicked on the lawn, no motherly face ever smiled at the windows, and few people went in and out except the old gentleman and his grandson. In their neighbor, there is the house which has all the comforts and all the luxuries, all the facilities that house has. That means that house has a space for the cars also. Also there is the beautiful roads, and also there is the glass room outside the house used as the greenhouse too in their house. But however, there is this house is looking like lonely, lifeless, because there is no children horse frolicked on the lawns. In that house, in the front of that house, there is the lawn also, but there is no children to play on that lawn, and also there is no motherly face ever smiled at the windows, and that March family could not saw in front of their house there is the that big house. There is no motherly face they found. Only they can see from their curtain. There is few people. They went in and out, and except the old gentleman and his grandson. In front of their house there is one house, rich house. In that rich house there is no children, only one older people, older gentleman or older grandfather is there, and his grandson is there.